Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Alex. So the Tiger 2 full review. It's been a long time in the making. I actually, as you guys can see, I have 2 marks of excellence. This is actually my second vehicle to have 2 marks. I usually stop at a mark, and I only play them rarely just as to kind of keep myself warmed up with them. But recently, I've been thinking about putting a second mark on my IS3. Yeah, and so I also thought about a third mark on this. But I did want to go ahead and show you guys the armor and all that. So I don't have enough time to go over every single detail of it, but I do have enough time to show you guys how I run it. And so I'm just going to go ahead and say, just trust me on this. And this is how I run it. It's a really good setup. And I'm going to go ahead and point out to you guys some of the differences between console and PC real quick. First off, 390 millimeters, 390 meters of view range on PC. We get 400. So that's the first difference. Second difference is the power ratio, which is more like 15 right now on console, and on here it's only 9.8. So really bad power ratio, meaning that this thing is absolutely a slug on the PC, but on console this thing will actually achieve 38 and hold it. It actually feels like it's being held back because it's that fast. I did want to go ahead and bring that up to you, that those are going to be severely nerfed in the future, and so is the turret on this thing. So, 150 on the armor, 80, 80, 185, 80, and 80, 40 for the tracks, 40 for the gun. That's spaced armor, and then it has a 20% chance of injury fire. Which I do believe has to do with the fact that this thing, I think it uses a generator. It doesn't actually use a direct drive, but anyway. So if you guys look here, stock, this thing has an okay, rate of fire, but I mean, it's really close to being the same as an IS or an IS3. And you can see you get off 6 rounds per minute. Maximum ammunition is 42. I do believe we get actually more ammo on console as well, which I think I just noticed. I did want to mention to you guys that it gets 225 with 320 damage, 285 with APCR, which I'm going to tell you you are not going to need because this gun is accurate. You will need him. You will need him at a point, and I'm going to say that's while you're training your crew. If you don't have a 100% trained crew, and you don't have any perks, it's not going to be that accurate. But you can see here, just with a 100% trained crew, bare bones, this thing's actually more accurate right now on PC. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that it's actually 0.32 on console, which is what it used to be back in the old days. But right now, it actually is 0.29 accurate, meaning this thing is one of the most accurate tier 8 105s that you can get. So let's go ahead and get some perks on this thing, and I'm going to show you guys how I got them and the order in which I achieved them. 6th Sense, Mentor, Brothers in Arms, and then I went with Smooth Ride, or I went with Snapshot. Then I got Smooth Ride, Situational Awareness to get my view range up there, and then I also got, Recon, and I got Eagle Eye. Now I'm also working right now on track repair maintenance and just repairs. So now we just need to talk about equipment. Now with equipment, ventilation, gun rammer, you might think vertical stabilizer or something, but no, coated optics. And as you guys can see here, 471.1 meters of view range you're going to get, and that's crazy if you think about that just for 1 second. That's actually how I got my second mark on this, because I didn't play it any different than I do any other tank. I do about 1,000 damage per game, but I was also detecting people, and I was also getting a lot of critical hits because of its great penetration and accuracy. Meaning I could aim for hatches, I could aim for tracks, I could track and pin, stuff like that. I could hit, the crevice of the turret, damaging the turret, all kinds of stuff like that. So if you guys look at it, this is all the stuff that you're going to end up with. It actually says here on the PC, if I had the same setup, which I do not, I'd have 0.28 accuracy, which is crazy. But I'm going to go ahead and say that the view range would be actually 481.1 on Xbox. So along with radio range and all that, this is absolutely crazy, this tank on console right now. It's absolutely amazing. So that's pretty much how I run it. I'm going to say that's how I got my second mark. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I'm going to start running some chocolate on this to increase my performance just a little bit, because I would actually like to get off another round solid per minute, and I'd like to be able to do 32.6, and you can see my accuracy goes even further. Now I do remember before they did do these buffs on this tank, well, to the gun, I do remember this, and that is it was actually 0.31 accuracy is what you have. So that's what we have on the console right now. We have 0.31, and that's with all this crap on it. So let's make this a shorter video, and let's go ahead and look at the armor. So I'm going to show you guys the uber weak points that you have on this, which is different on console. Now just keep in mind here that everything you see on this is going to require at least 20 more penetration, because PC is just more accurate. And I've noticed that hit registration just isn't quite right. For instance, this 150mm plate at its angle gives you the exact same as the Motherland. And I'm going to tell you, I've actually tested the two, and they have the same exact thing. Yet, you can only pin this with a tier 10 gun. I mean, we're talking the upper plate. It will bounce it. You need something like 285. So an APCR round could pin this. Now, the bottom plate is a whole nother story. You only need to have, you know, maybe a Tiger, a tier 7 gun to pin that. Tier 6s even can pin it. And you can see here the turret. If you're close enough, you can pin it with 185mm. But on consoles, you can add like 20. So you need like 215 pin. I've actually bounced Borsigs repeatedly until they switched to their heat rounds, and then they started nailing me in the turret. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you that this little flat area, although looks huge right here, imagine it from 200 meters. You're not going to be able to hit it. You're going to be hitting somewhere near it. Now, something else I want to point out to you guys on PC to console is that just turning your turret just slightly to the left will actually be penetratable. And so you don't get that on console. You actually need to shoot it at an angle like this in order to actually penetrate it. You know, which is makes it more survivable. When you're looking directly at a guy, you can even look a little bit and you'll still hear shit bouncing off you. So just that's the stuff that's going to be different. Now, I did want to go ahead and say that the reason why I bought the Tiger 2 back is because of this new overmatching they're going to get rid of. If you guys don't know what that is, Quickie Baby did a video on it, but overmatching basically means that if I'm firing around at this angle here, I'm going to pin it. But if you guys look at it, if it's flat, right, that's a 90 degree. But if I'm shooting it at this angle, it has to be a 74 or more in order to pin it. So to explain that to you guys simply, this is a ricochet here. It would be a ricochet all the way up to about right here, 70 degrees. So around 74 is when you're actually going to start pinning it. So if you think about that, you're not going to be able to pin this tank very much. You know, you're not going to be able to pin it. It's going to bounce a lot of stuff because you're going to have 70 degrees in order to pin it. That's basically like this. This is 90 on the side here. This is 90, you know, and then we got, you know, 80, and it just goes lower, right? And when you get down to the automatic ricochet point here, that's what you'll get on the turret. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys. So those are the weak points on this tank. Bottom plate, the cheeks, the upper part here, and also down here. That's a lot to keep track of, but on console right now, it doesn't behave like that at all. When you fire at this, you know, like I said, I'll bounce shots at really steep angles. I've even tried to pin this, and I'm going to tell you, if you shoot this on PC right here, even at this angle, you'll actually be able to pin it. And you can see here, it's actually a strength. It's actually one of the strongest parts of the tank. So it's really weird though. On console, it acts like it's 400 millimeters all the time. It's just unpinnable unless you have a tier 10 gun. Anyway, that's pretty much all I needed to talk to you guys about and show you. One more thing I did want to mention to you guys is that it has these fenders which do count as spaced armor, but you can see that they don't actually register as being it. Now, I've actually tried to do some reverse side scraping on this, and I haven't had any bad things happen to me. It's not like I get pinned But I do know that they do not recommend doing that on PC. So I don't know. We'll have to see in the future. But right now it seems like it'll bounce regardless. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into the gameplay footage. Alright, so here we are in Ruinberg War, which I really like Ruinberg War, especially when it's a tier 10 lobby, which is what this is. Now I did want to go ahead and say that I could have showed some other games that I had that were, you know, pretty good. I had like, I did like 1500 damage, plus I spotted something like, you know, I don't know, I think it was like 1500, and then I also blocked something like 1500, and that's what gets you a mark, is having all that in one, you know, doing damage, doing spotting, doing, you know, just getting everything, blocking on top of it. Now this isn't one of those games. This is basically me showing that if you play it right in a tier 10 room, it's actually pretty good. For instance, this thing actually is an E50. I mean, it's an E50 100%, except for an E50 will do 55 kilometers. And that's crazy. So watch the acceleration on this. You'll see here that we get up to 30, 38. Now this is kind of funny, but I'm actually getting ready to try and do some reverse side scraping. I'm getting detected, and I think I know where this guy is. And it's going to sound funny, but right there where that conqueror is, pretty much the only spot on this map that you can spot us. And I'm actually was kind of shocked that he was able to make it, you know, up that far by the time we had just hit here. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy. He must have, you know, he just was going. Unless it went directly from the spawn towards us. And, I mean, even if it does 40 or even 42, it's still pretty damn quick. So, but anyway. I was hoping he'd take a shot at me or two, but he doesn't. And I'm trying to do some reverse side scraping here just to kind of test that theory. I have blocked 3,000 front ways, just normal side scraping, using this tank. But I have not blocked anything in reverse like I am now. You guys might wonder what would be the benefit of that, and that is, at long range, there's no way you can pin somebody if it actually bounces in reverse. But, like I said, in PC, or on PC, they do not recommend reverse side scraping. For instance, the E50M compared to the E50, the E50 does not reverse side scrape very well compared to the E50M. Which is supposedly a bonus for it being so damn slow. Which I'm going to go ahead and say that they really do need to, you know, make that balanced out, like give those tanks the same. So one of the best things about all the German tanks is that, one, they have the most, just the best guns. I mean, they really are amazing. Now when you get into tier 9, it starts becoming more fantasy than anything else, just to be competitive, but I'm going to go ahead and say, when you're talking about this gun and you compare it to the E75's fully upgraded gun, it's absolutely no comparison, because the E75 cannot shoot like this. I actually would prefer this over the E75, but if we were on PC, I would definitely not. If we were on PC, I would not want to even play this tank, just because it, you know, the cheeks are so weak. Like I said, when you're facing somebody directly, if you watch me, I'm going to actually go left and right because of that there's that chance of getting an auto ricochet if they shoot me on the left side. And the narrower you do it, or the thinner, the better. Now I want to shoot these guys on the top, but I can clearly see that it would be really hard to penetrate that. And I do know that tank because I had it. So I'm actually thinking to myself that I'm going to need to rush. Now crossing this little intersection, I wouldn't normally do, but as you guys can see, the other part of the team is going there. Now I did want to let you guys know that we are kind of practicing some tactics for the WCL, which is creating two different fields of fire. There's only one problem with that. As you can see, they're engaged with the whole group and we're engaged with just two, but it's kind of weird. I tracked that guy once and then I hit his motor on this one, and you can see Deadeye, I'm sorry, Eagle Eye. It really is good having Eagle Eye. Now I don't recommend nose scraping like this, except for on Ruinberg. I normally would give the right side of my tank and use the side of my armor block it. But when you're talking about a tier 9 like we are here, it's best to just attack. Now I was gonna go for the track, and I know better than to basically nose hug him. Now he sees Mark over there in that tank, in the Borsig, and you know, artillery out of nowhere snatches the kill. So this is by no means an average game for this tank, but as far as damage goes, for Sunday, this was one of the highest damages I had done in the Tiger 2. Now, if you look at the assisted and that, you know, I did get a target spot. I got sniper medal, which is, you know, completely doable. But I will say that usually I do like 2,500 damage, and I do probably 1,500 assisted, and I block about the same. So just all around getting a lot of stuff will help your W and 8 and make your stats so much better. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment, like, and subscribe, and have a good one. Later.